You can pick whether you want a fixed tempo in Cubase, meaning one tempo throughout the entire project, or a changing tempo using the tempo track. You can activate the tempo track here. Once you decide that you want the tempo track turned on, you can enter the tempo track editor by holding down Control or Command and then clicking once on the tempo button. You can also select it under the Project menu or use the key command Control or Command T. Once you are in the tempo track, you can also turn it on or off here. The Pen tool lets you draw in tempo changes. You can make ramped curves for smooth tempo changes or hard jumps for dramatic changes. You can also use the arrow tool to insert tempo changes. Just hold down Alt and click. The eraser tool lets you erase tempo changes. If you want to erase a whole bunch of changes, just use the eraser to highlight them and then click on one of them. You can also use the Delete or Backspace key on your keyboard to erase the selected tempo change. You can use the pointer to pick up and move a tempo change. Snap allows us to move our tempo changes to a grid. When Snap is on, the grid can be set here. I'll pick Whole Notes. My tempo changes are now snapping to every bar. I can specify the exact tempo to get it just right. You can change the curve type after you've drawn in your tempo changes. Just select two tempo changes by shift-clicking and then select the type of curve you want between the 2 points. The tempo recorder slider can be used to record tempo changes on the fly while Cubase is playing. Cycle mode needs to be deactivated in order to do it. Now speed it up and then slow it down. Let's erase all that. When you right-click on the ruler, you can normally display bars and beats, seconds, timecode, samples, or frames per second. But there are 2 extra options here. They are time linear and bars and beats linear. The default setting here is bars and beats linear. This keeps all of the bars and the beats the same length. But check out time linear. When you draw in tempo changes that are really fast, the bars and beats come closer together, visualizing the quickness of the tempo. When you draw in slow tempos, the bars and beats become further and further apart, giving you the impression that the tempo is slowing down. Just look at the difference between this section here and this section here. You can use this on the project page as well. The last 2 items are the Process Tempo and Process Bars dialog boxes. The Process Tempo dialog is the equivalent of a fit time calculator. It is used to numerically change the tempo by a specific amount or fit a certain cue. Let's change our ruler to seconds. Now let's say we want our tempo changes here to fit from 0 to 10 seconds. Set the left and right locator around the original tempo changes and then open the Process Tempo dialog box. This is the range that you just set using the left and right locators. We could change it here, but it's way easier using the locators. Next, enter the new tempo range. We want it to happen in 10 seconds. Hit Process. Now the range that you specified has been fit to time. The Process Bars dialog uses the Insert Silence and Delete Time commands in the Edit menu to add and remove bars from your project. The great thing about this dialog is that it allows you to insert bars with a certain time signature. So you could, for instance, insert 4 bars of 3/4 time in the middle of your project if you wanted to. First, we need to select the starting bar and the length of the bar range. You can use the green slider here if you like, but I find it easier to use the dialog boxes. Now we can select our time signature here and click Process. You can also remove bars, which is pretty self-explanatory, and reinterpret bars or replace bars. Let's talk about replace bars first. When you select this option, the time signature that is in the bar range you chose here will be replaced with the time signature that you enter here, and no tempo changes will take place. This is great when you want to quickly change the time signature for a portion of your project. When you use reinterpret bars, the time signature will be changed just like it is when you use replace bars, but Cubase will also change the tempo to suit the new time signature. This will change the bar and beat positions of your notes, but playback will still be the same. And that's it for the tempo track.